Hi, beautiful. How are you today? I'm Tisha Dolby, and welcome to Power, Passion, and Purpose, where every woman has the opportunity to discover your powers, your passions, and God's purpose for your life. We will be diving into healing, growing, and maturing and becoming all that God has for you to be. Tune in every week on Sundays at noon on the Boss Up Houston Network. I'll see you on the inside. Have a great day. Hello. How are you guys doing today? Welcome back. I'm glad you came. I'm glad you're here. I'm happy to have you aboard for another episode of Power, Passion, and Purpose. Woo-wee. The last few weeks have been some heavy topics where we talked about love, understanding, support. And all of these are very closely related and connected to my purpose and how I live and how I mentor and how I work with my clients. And a lot of the times, it's all tapped into trauma. It comes from a misperception, not being equipped or given the skills and tools to maneuver through life. And a lot of things are connected to our new topic. And that's why I started that way, was because all of these add to today's topic. And today's topic is brokenness. And that's the state of being broken. But we all know that brokenness looks and surfaces differently for everyone. Every single person. And as we go through this and you get to know me and I just share and pour on you guys, you'll get to find out that I'm not a one fits all type of person. I don't put people in boxes. And I believe in cultivating and understanding relationships and people for who they are, not who I see them as. Because just because I see something in you don't mean that you see it. And because of my past trauma, because of my past brokenness, I may be seeing something that's not necessarily valid or something that belongs to you. A lot of the times when we see something in somebody else, we see a piece in us that still needs some work. You hear me? You hear me. All of us have had some type of experience with brokenness along our journey of life. And I'm going to start by giving y'all the topic, the definition, and then we'll go dive a little bit deeper, take some layers off, remove some things, add some things. You know how we do this. You know how we break it all the way down, give some true life examples, and then I share some of the tips and tools that I have used, as well as the things that I teach others. So today, let's start with the Webster's definition again. Violently separated into parts, shattered. How many of us have felt shattered at some point in time in our life? We've been shattered from friendships, from jobs, from childhood, from things that we got ourselves into. We just felt like we were so taken in a million pieces. Like, how am I going to put this back together? How am I going to put the pieces of my life back together? Damaged, altered, having undergone, been subjected to a fracture. So that's the physical breaking of bones, breaking of your toe, breaking of a finger, an arm, a leg, fractures, but they can be spiritual fractures too. Well, that's what we don't talk about. We don't talk about those internal breaks that become a part of the walls we put up, that become a part of, my famous words, adult temper tantrums. Become a part of a character that's not an alignment of who we truly are. Let's see, what else do we have on this list? Interrupted, disruption and change. One that I thought was really different was of a tulip flower having an irregular, streaked, blotched pattern, especially from a virus or an infection. That was a new definition for me because I'm like, never thought of a blemish on a flower as broken. I just looked at it as unique, as different. And if we really do the healing work, you can become that blemished flower because everything that you survive, everything that you overcome, that brokenness is used to help heal, grow, mature, and becomes a part of your purpose. So you can reach back and help the next person that's struggling in that area. We are not going to have all the answers. We are not going to be able to fix everything, but we can, if we choose to, be a supportive system for somebody else trying to put the pieces of their life back together. Um, Bankrupt. Most brokenness leads to you feeling completely empty on the inside, and tangibly can be lead to emptiness because you end up spending money you don't have. You end up becoming an alcoholic. You end up becoming an addict. You end up having a shopping addiction. You try to buy your friends and family to mask the brokenness. But then nothing masks it because you're never with somebody 24 hours, 7 days a week. At some point in time, you are by yourself. And the sooner we learn how to look in the mirror and look at those pieces for truly what they are and process them, we can take our power back. We can truly withdraw the power from that hurt and use it as a tool to move forward, to grow strength, to have hope, to see a future, to look at it from a different perspective. But if we never take the time to look at our brokenness and put it in its proper perspective, we can't move forward. And you just become a person who is existing. And your life is going because time doesn't stop for anybody. People come and go. You lose jobs, you lose finances, you lose material possessions because of your unwillingness to deal with your brokenness. And it's kind of difficult to pinpoint, okay, well, this is why this is, or this is why I say this. I know a big part of my healing, I had to deal with my language. Because of the hurt I was feeling on the inside, I was giving that to everybody around me, whether they deserved it or didn't deserve it. And it's so hard, but it's something that we must be intentional about, is dealing with ourselves. Because when somebody else is going through something and they come at you and they fussing and they cussing and they're just lashing out at you, you're like, I didn't do nothing to you. Why are you coming at me like that? But what's the difference when you do it? What's the difference when you do it? So brokenness surface in a lot of different ways. A lot of different ways. And it's really, really important in your life of healing, growing, and maturing and walking this thing out and figuring this thing out and just trying to be the best friend you can be, trying to be the best man or woman that you're trying to be, trying to be this best spouse that you're trying to be, trying to be the best employee, that you take the time to analyze and process and walk through your brokenness. Because I know for me, because of what I wanted in my future, I couldn't take the things that I was saying and doing in my brokenness and continue in those patterns, whether it was something done to me or something I put myself into. I had to make a decision. I had to make the decision to deal with my brokenness. So that leads us to our first commercial break. So you can process some of the definitions that I've given you. Think about your own life, your trials, your tribulations, things that were said to you, things that were done to you, and begin that process of thinking, what is next? What do I need to do next to stop the hurt, to stop the pain, to stop the brokenness? I had a saying when I started this journey. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And with that, I'll see you in a few minutes after our first commercial break. Hi, beautiful. How are you today? I'm Tisha Dolby, and welcome to Power, Passion, and Purpose, where every woman has the opportunity to discover your powers, your passions, and God's purpose for your life. We will be diving into healing, growing, and maturing and becoming all that God has for you to be. Tune in every week on Sundays at noon on the Boss Up Houston Network. I'll see you on the inside. Have a great day.
Boss Up Houston, you know why? Right here.
With your host, Shamir Bacon. Tune in and stay locked. And boss up. Boss Up Houston, where we look up, stay up, and boss up.
What are you doing here? Red Table Talk, the Estefans. Time to take the table to a whole new place. It's coming to Miami. 3 different women, 3 different generations. We're loud, we're proud. Let's go.
We're
We're talking about relationships, love, sexuality.
Oh my gosh. We all know that you are fuerte.
Yes, I'm a tough woman, but I'm very vulnerable.
Like muchas Latinas.
In order to move forward, you have to go to those places.
I like boys. I like girls. I like both.
Honesty will set you free.
We are putting all of that on the table.
Red Table Talk via Stefans.
Be a part of the conversation. Only on Facebook Watch.
Welcome back. I hope you got a chance to chime in and see some of our sponsors. We really greatly appreciate them. We couldn't be here if it wasn't for our sponsors. And I just wanted to take the time and acknowledge you because that shows your willingness to actually do the work. When you take the time, and I say my saying, I choose me and everything else comes second. When you are intentional about the things that you do, you show up for first yourself, which so many times in life, we are very, very good at celebrating everyone else, but we don't count our own wins, which will keep us in those states of negativity because there is so much coming against us, so many choices and decisions that we may quote unquote wrong. When we see our brokenness, a part of seeing that brokenness comes with guilt, shame, that we want to cover up, we want to hide behind a mask, we want to hide behind things, and we tend to isolate ourselves, and we become recluse, we don't go outside, we don't get dressed, we don't comb our hair, and these are all signs that something is out of alignment. Something is truly not working. And sometimes we want to blame others, rightfully so, because I tell people my truth is my truth. My reality is my reality. But what happened to me, I don't have to live what was spoken over me. I don't have to, I can make the choice to stop that negativity at any given time. At any given moment, I can choose me. And in choosing me, it breaks that power that that thing has over my life. I always say, you didn't get to where you are overnight. So undoing, unlearning, and implementing the new is going to take time. It's going to take patience. It's going to take long suffering. You're going to fall down and bump your knee and get scrapes and bruises along the way. And then you're going to feel like you're going to have those moments where you're like, oh, I got this thing. And then you're blindsided. And it could be your best friend. It could be in a relationship. It could be in a job that blindsides you, that can have you spiral. And then you get to saying, oh, I truly am this, or I'm not this, or I'm not that. I tell everyone, I love you with the agape love of God. Why? Because I had to learn me with the agape love of God. With my scars, with my mistakes, with me having children out of wedlock, with me, not feeling abandoned, with the trauma in my life, with the PTSD, with the list goes on. The list goes on. Number 2, I had to learn how to forgive. But not only those who hurt me because they were broken, but also myself. And take ownership. I take ownership and responsibility of my life and my process and my truth, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I embrace all of it because each one of those things help me become who I am. I use them as a tool in where I'm going. You know, as usual, this is a topic that cannot be broken down in just one setting and one sitting. But we just really want to scratch the surface and explain to you guys that it's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to stay there. You have people connected to you, you have people that you love and appreciate, and you are continuing to traumatize other people when you choose not to work. When you choose not to get healthy, when you choose not to deal with your brokenness, you are hurting other people, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. Whether you want to acknowledge it or not. There's children involved, there's family members involved, there's friends involved, there's coworkers involved, there's community involved, there's the people at the grocery store involved. When you choose not to deal with your brokenness, it surfaces in every area of your life. Every which way you turn, you're going to see, you're going to reap it. You're going to reap what you have sown. I spent a long time saying, I'm the child. How long am I going to suffer for the choices and decisions and the consequences of my parents? I said this to family members. I was hurting. I was broken. And there was nothing wrong with what I was saying. It was how I was delivering it. So it could not be received because I was telling the truth. How are you faulting a 5-year-old, a 7-year-old, a 10-year-old? Number one, I was a child. So I had to rely on someone else making choices and decisions for me, to protect me, to cover me, to nurture me, to guide me. Not to abuse me, not to abandon me, not to choose a drug over me. But all of that built up a resentment. It built up hurts and pains that wasn't seen on the outside. Yeah, the beatings, the scars healed. The wounds closed up. But that did not take away from what it did to my character, what it did to my mindset, what it did to how I looked and perceived family members, people in general, men, my perception of what a relationship is supposed to look like. So when I got on the other side of the child abuse, naturally, what was the thing that happened? I ended up being in domestic violence situations because that was my life. Even though I grew up saying, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to be with a man that puts his hands on me. I'm not going to go here. I'm not going to deal with this type of person. I'm going to leave. Nope. It didn't take one. It didn't take two. It took four. 4 adult relationships for me to sever that tie of abuse. And it wasn't just because of me. I found that thing that gave me hope, that encouraged me to keep going when I did not want to go. And that was my children. That was my children. Gave me the will to live because I did not want to be here, because for what I could not wrap my head around, why God kept me here. Why did you allow me to survive child abuse? Why did you allow me to survive all these placements, these group homes, living in shelters? Why did I survive all of this to end up in domestic violence relationships and lose a child in the process. Not as a result of the domestic violence. My baby passed away from SIDS. But that definitely was my wake up call where I said, I don't know what my future holds, but I know I don't want this. And it still took time because I was not given the skills. I was not spoken life over. I wasn't taught what to look for in a relationship. I wasn't told these things. So subconsciously, I picked up all the negative, all the bad, all the things that I did not want, I started picking up. And when you're broken, what you put out is what you receive. So I continue to receive broken people because I had yet to look in that mirror and deal with my brokenness. I had yet to look in that mirror and deal with my past, my trauma, my hurts, my pains, and process each individual one to give it its perspective, give it its place, and see past the situation and see God. To see God kept me. He protected me. He moved me out of harm's way. And if he did it before, he'll do it again. He continues to walk with me in this journey of life. I look at life through a different lens today because I did the work. I made a choice that I wanted to live. I made a choice that I wanted more. I made a choice that I wanted better. I made a choice that I wanted my children to have a life that I did not have. So that meant I had to learn how to become something I wasn't given. I had to learn to take those baby steps. I had to learn. I tell people there was days that I had to just focus on breathing because I held my breath so much from the trauma. I still do it. And I'm 30 years into this healing process. Let me get triggered. I'll sit there for a minute and I'll hold my breath because I got to quickly process, am I safe? Is everything okay? So it doesn't take away what happened. It just puts it in perspective and allows you to use it as a tool. It allows you to go forth and continue to be strengthened, to continue the healing process. I tell people there's layers to this thing. There's layers. Can something be healed instantaneously? Yes. But this is my lifestyle. I protect my peace at all costs. Why? Because I choose not to treat somebody the way that they treat me. I choose to love on people in spite of myself and in spite of them. Because that was that key thing that I needed and I didn't receive it. But they couldn't give it either. In this healing process, you will know and you will see hurt people hurt people. How can I expect you to give me what I need when you can't give yourself what you need? Think about it. Think about that process. How can I expect you to be kind to me when you're not kind to yourself? How can I expect you to support me when you don't support yourself? So that's why it's imperative for you to choose you. And you determine what that looks like. You do. And you have a voice in this thing, but you also have a responsibility in this. So I hope me sharing a little piece of my testimony with you encourages that, yeah, I was born into this thing. I was born into trauma that didn't stop. after we get to a certain point, you become numb to the brokenness and you just exist. But I got to a point where I said, I choose me. I'm going to I'm going to live. I'm going to thrive. I'm going to love. But that also meant that I had to process all that mess. I had to get rid of all that stuff because I can't love you if I don't love me. We're getting ready to take our next break, and I will see you when we return. Make sure you come back.
Our new house is amazing. Great street, huge yard.
There is a bit of an issue with our neighbor's fencing. At least Geico makes bundling our home and car insurance easy.
Which helps us save even more.
Hey, Sarah. Hey, Peter.
Touche. What?
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
If you like this video, please share it.
And hit the subscribe button to watch more great Geico videos if you... Hey, guys, can you please watch the begonias? Just planted those.
Sorry.
Wanna be a boss? You're watching Boss Up Houston Network. It's Boss Up Houston, where we look up, stay up, and boss up.
Stay up. Boss up. Boss Up Houston, where we look up, stay up.
Welcome back, guys. How are you doing? How are you doing? You know, we talk about some deep subjects and they can be weighted and they can be heavy. But one thing along this journey and this path that I have been able to do is learn how to enjoy life and the small things in life. In my process of healing and dealing with brokenness, you can tend to, in hindsight, in reflection, look at some of the choices and decisions you made and Say, I wouldn't do that today. Or I should have did this way and maybe so that's why I did this because you have a fresh look, you have a different perspective, um, and you look at it like, wow, look how far I came. And this is why it's so important to count your wins. We must count our wins, no matter how small they are. Acknowledge to yourself, I am growing. I am healing. Say those words to yourself. Say those words, I once was broken, but I'm still here. So I bend, but I don't break no more. Life hits me just like it hits everyone else. I laugh a lot because I have some who have been along during this journey who have said, you wouldn't know you've been through what you've been through. And my answer is always, am I supposed to? Am I supposed to? I survived for a reason. I'm here for a reason. I'm not supposed to be looking all broken down. Um, I enjoy being in the community with like minded individuals, with my children. Uh, when we're out and about, people think I'm my son's girlfriend. They think me and my daughters are siblings, and they be like really shocked. And I just praise God. That gives me the opportunity to really, really humbly go to Him and give Him praise and thank Him. Because I have seen people who have, life has beat them up so bad, and they never made that choice to live. And they just exist, and you can see that they are so worn out. They're so tired. But for me, and for those that are connected to me, I'm going to speak life. I'm going to speak love. I'm going to speak healing. I'm going to speak support. I am here to encourage you to live your best life. I am here to help you walk for it far as you want to go. And let's figure it out. I don't know what that looks like, but we're going to walk this thing out. We're going to acknowledge where we came from, but we're going to take the power back from that thing and use it to move forward, to take territory, to expand the kingdom, to reach somebody else who's going through it. What I do and who I am is not for everybody. And that's why I don't expect it out of everybody. I expect the best version of you out of you. We all have a story. We all have a past. We all have made choices and decisions that we have to live with, that we have to deal with the consequences of. But sometimes our brokenness is caused by things that were said and done to us, how we were manipulated and controlled and misused and mistreated. And to be able to walk through that thing and process that, because of the choices and decisions someone else made, it affected who and what I became. But it doesn't have to have control over who I'm becoming. Let me say that again. Just because of the choices and decisions someone else made affected who I became, it doesn't have to have the power to control who I'm becoming. We are always supposed to be elevating. We're always supposed to be growing. We're always supposed to be doing something more. I tell people, I tell my kids grew up in a household where they had to learn something every day, at least one thing every day. And what I mean by that is not, it doesn't always have to be positive either. It could be a lesson. I learned not to do that again. Me and my spiritual mother have this what not to do list. We have this imaginary list that we use, and we say, oh, well, we know not to do that. And it's so funny because we'll both catch it and we'll say, well, that goes on a what not to do list. And sometimes it's minor and sometimes it's a flaw or a mistake. But you learn. And you don't allow it to take you captive and create a new crack in which you're healing. So, right now, we're just going to talk about some tangible things that I did to deal with my brokenness and some lifestyle changes that I chose to make. Now, will it work for you? I don't know. But if you haven't tried it, you won't know if it won't work. And because my trauma was so intensive, because my brokenness was so much, I had a lot to work on. And I chose. I chose to work on it. That's the number one. Y'all hear me talk? Well, number one is acknowledgement. Number one is always going to be acknowledgement. So most of the time when I'm dealing with you guys from this point on, I won't talk about acknowledgement because you can't work on nothing that you don't acknowledge. You have to say, that's not quite right. I need to do something different. This ain't quite working. Those are all forms of acknowledgement. Or, oh, some people say, I failed. Just because you failed don't mean you're a failure. Just because you made a poor choice, it doesn't define you. You erred. Get up, learn the lesson from it, and move on. And the same thing goes with brokenness. You have to say, I have daddy issues. I have mommy issues. I wasn't given the skills. I wasn't given the tools. I wasn't prepared for this thing. I thought I knew, but I didn't. That's number one. To acknowledge something needs worked on. And number two was to choose to work on it. I choose today. Going forward, today, I'm going to live. Today, I'm going to thrive. Today, I'm going to heal. Today, I'm going to do something today for a better tomorrow. We have to choose. And then the third thing was to make a plan. I need some action steps. What do I need to do to move this thing forward? And for me, it was sitting down and determining what kind of parent I wanted to be, what kind of household I wanted my children to grow up in. And it wasn't until recently that I started thinking about what do I want for my future. I was not one of those children who was blessed with the opportunity to say, what do you want to be when you grow up? Because at 6, I was doing adult things. I wasn't asked those things. I didn't know what I liked. I knew what foods I like, obviously. I knew I liked sports, but out of life, I just wanted to live. I wanted to make it to the next day. That was as far as my brain could function. I just wanted to live. And there came a point that the trauma had become so intense that I didn't want to live. That's what I mean about brokenness and how you can become really, really trapped by it, really, really stuck by it. And how it'll affect your finances, how it'll affect your parenting, how it'll affect your friendships, how it will affect your household, how it will affect your body. Because when we don't deal with things that are internal, our body breaks down. I suffer from migraines. I was diagnosed with migraines from the age of 11 or 12. And it wasn't until recently that I can say that I've had no migraines. I get them from time to time now, and it's usually associated with stress or a lot of activities going on, and I'm trying to get my body back in balance, or not paying attention to not eating. I can pinpoint it now. But for a long time in my life, I couldn't pinpoint it, and they couldn't figure out how to get them to stop. To the point it affects your emotional status, it affects your weight, it affects, when I say everything, the inability to process trauma, brokenness, abandonment, self not having self-love, not having self-worth. All of this affects you across the board. It's not something that it's like, oh, I can just put this in a box and put it in the back of my mind and live life, and I'm gonna live the best life I can live. No, it's not like that. It's not like that. We're not even built like that. So, you know, those were key things that I did. And for my mental health and not to endure additional trauma, I made some real hard choices. I stopped talking to certain people so I could focus on my healing. I moved away from people so I could focus on my healing. I actually made the conscious decision to raise my children in a single parent home. And I'm not saying that you have to go to the extremes that I did, but you have to decide what that plan looks like for you so you can start working the plan. I chose to speak life. I chose in any situation that occurs to find something to be grateful for. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care if it's the loss of a job, a car accident, a friendship that ended, a relationship that ended, an argument with somebody I cared about, a disagreement with my children, having to discipline my. I found a way to find something, at least one thing positive in that thing. It's hard sometimes. It's really, really hard. But it can be done. And that allows you to shift your future and your perspective of life and things that come up. We can get into the whole how you look at politics, how you look at your faith, how you look at your life in general, how you look at your jobs, how you look at this. I choose. I'm intentional about the people I'm around. I'm intentional about where I show up. I'm intentional about how I show up. All of these were things that I started when I started my healing process and are a part of me. I made a total lifestyle shift. A total lifestyle shift. I decided to walk in love, joy, peace, forgiveness, kindness, mercy, long suffering. I chose that. And every day I work on that. Every day I spend time to myself. Every day I pray. Every day I journal. These are tangible things that anybody can do. Anybody can choose. But you have to choose, because even when you don't choose, you've made a choice. So I encourage you today to start looking at those small things that you can incorporate. You don't have to do everything that I do. Like I said, I didn't get here overnight. I didn't become who I am overnight, and it takes work. It takes consistency. It takes intentionality to make those lifelong changes, those lifestyle changes for more, for better, to live, to love, to thrive. So we have one more break. And then when we come back, I'm going to try my best to wrap this up in a nice little bow for you and leave you with a few scriptures and make a couple announcements. So I will see you when you return.
Oh my God! I just got through watching a great show on Boss Up Houston Network. Have you heard? They're bossing up, okay? And I heard they're looking for you. Any podcasters, talk show hosts, if you're a writer or producer, we definitely need you. Come aboard and boss up.
Are you a small business owner that is struggling to promote your company?
Our topic today is, what's your status?
Shoot the dice at this point.
You just shoot the dice, roll the dice.
So,
Yes.
Hey, how y'all doing? It's attorneys.
I love it. Imagine being televised on a national platform. How about being a host or sponsor on a syndicated podcast? Or being featured on exclusive promotions and interview for your product to your ideal customer? Hi, I'm Kayla Sneed, and I'm head of sales with Boss Up Houston. And here at Boss Up, we like to help small business owners and entrepreneurs advertise, promote, or become a sponsor for one of our television, podcast, or radio shows. All you have to do is click the link down below to see if you qualify. I'll be seeing you soon.
This is Boss Up Houston, where we look up, stay up, and boss up.
Maridate, Houston's first private social club for couples.
It all started when one of Jen's friends brought her out to a bar and she didn't want to go out. She saw me and said she's going to marry that guy. Her friends thought it was funny. The next night we met. This was 2 days before Christmas. And then we've been together ever since. That was 2007. We hung out that night, didn't even know each other's names. And then eventually we started hanging out and got together, got engaged January of 2008, got married April of 2009, and we have 2 kids and a third that we just had a month and a half ago in May. So now we have 3 kids, own a business, been together for 14 years now, and no turning back from there. Everybody said we wouldn't make it. We've been through trials and tribulations, made sure that we always stuck by each other's side and took care of everything we're supposed to, and we've been tested a lot. We have been tested hard. Other than that, we have enjoyed life. We travel. We enjoy spending time with each other 24 hours a day. Never a dull moment, never separation. It's actually been great.
Join Maridate today by visiting www.maridate.com.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's topic of brokenness. I can't say enjoyed, but it was enlightening, eye-opening, gave you something to reflect on, maybe encourage you, as well as, some of us gives you the conviction that you need, the awakeness that you need to think about what tomorrow holds. As usual, these topics are not a one and done. These are just opportunities for you to get some knowledge, get some revelation, get a deeper understanding, another level to what you're doing. To encourage you to seek out assistance if you really need it. That is why I do what I do. Power, passion, and purpose is way deeper than just a podcast or a show. It is my opportunity to pour into others what was important to me. It's my opportunity, to be God's hands, feet, and mouth. Everybody needs somebody. And if I can be a voice to encourage you, if I can help you along with your healing or open you up to the possibility of what life looks like on the other side, then I'm doing and I'm walking in my purpose. This is my purpose. This is who I am 24/7. In front of you, behind the closet, behind closed doors, not the closet, y'all, not the closet. With my friends, with my family, with my children, in the community. This is just who I am. I'm going to love on you. I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to share my testimony. I'm very, very transparent. So, as we close out today's show, as usual, I'm going to give you guys a few key scriptures. And we're going to start with Psalm 147:3. Psalm 147:3. And that's just to let you know God is going to heal you if you allow Him. You got to play your part. He heals the brokenhearted. Isaiah 41:10. Isaiah 41:10. I don't have to fear because God is with me and He is my strength. So when I cannot rely on somebody else, when I don't have that love and that support, I always have God. I always have my faith. I always have my belief. Revelation 21:4. Revelation 21:4. And that states that God will wipe away our tears. He's going to wipe them away. There will be no more pain. There will come a point in time if you choose. You have a part to play if you choose. Psalm 46:1. God is my refuge. He is my strength and He is my help. So when I'm lost, confused, misunderstood, hurting, I can find comfort in Him. I can seek Him and He will show me. I can pray to Him and He will give me peace. Zephaniah 3:17. He saves me. He's delighted in me. I tell everybody, we are the apple of His eye. He rejoices over us. He really does. He wants us to win. He wants us to have our best life. And lastly, John 16:33. I have peace. Even though I will have trouble, we will face trials and tribulations, y'all. We will. It's a part of life. But we know we get the victory because He's already overcome the world. We know we win. Like I tell everybody, if you're breathing, you're not finished. You are not born without your story being done. God writes our whole story before we're even born. It's our job to get rid of the stuff that's not of Him so we can walk in the fullness of who He is and who He's called us to be. We have a lot of things coming down the pipeline for you guys. We got a lot of activities. 3Ps is really active in the community. We have workshops. We have trainings. We do conferences. As a matter of fact, we're scheduling a conference, so stay tuned for those things to come down the pipeline with the details. We're always open to donations and support to help the next person. We do care packages. All of these things are done through my organization because I love people and I want to see you healed. I want to see you living your best life. So I look forward to you guys tuning in again, and stay tuned for fundraisers, activities, events, and I see you soon. Have a blessed week. Hi, beautiful. How are you today? I'm Tisha Dobie, and welcome to Power, Passion, and Purpose, where every woman has the opportunity to discover your powers, your passions, and God's purpose for your life. We will be diving into healing, growing, and maturing, and becoming all that God has for you to be. Tune in every week on Sundays at noon on the Boss Up Houston Network. I'll see you on the inside. Have a great day.